Alright. This is the same combo that we won with earlier, except reversed, so this time we have the other champion. How often do I lose because of RNG versus misplays in this game? I don't know. Hard to say which ones the misplays are. The obvious misplays I've mostly stopped dying to, but not all misplays are obvious. Ragon, thanks for 34 months. Bamusho to you as well. Thanks for the 34-month streak at tier 3. I appreciate the support. I know what champion I have. It says which my primary clan is right here. I guess I want to play this so that that dies, that if the thing is there, I can get it. I'm having to kill the boss with Flash Freeze and Fatal Melting and Train Stewards, which is too bad. I might be able to do it. Berg, thanks for Twitch Prime. When we showed you as well. Burnout, Rector need a nerf. I'm not one of the game devs. I'm a player of the game, just chilling out, trying to enjoy myself playing the game. Not getting paid to balance the game. That's what I'm up to here. Shoot, I don't know. Probably draw Fatal Melting next turn. I think I do this then. Game design's hard. For what it's worth. I don't know how many of you have tried designing a game, but it's very difficult to design a game and balance a game. Burnout 1, Multi-Strike 1. I already have 2 of those, right? Those 2 Flash Freezes and a Fatal Melting. It's like a pretty good starter deck for this combination. I don't think I want any of this. We're currently trying to design a game and it is hard. I believe it. You were 13 last time you did in-game development. Was it too easy? You just like built the perfect game and you're like, huh, the world doesn't deserve my brilliance, and then you stopped. I want to take the Wickless Tycoon, because let's be honest, I always take the Wickless Tycoon here. Offering Monument's okay. The other one, like, sort of really isn't, so take the Offering Monument. Job. Not sure these were the stats that we really wanted. I'm not gonna spend 25 gold on this. There's no unit that has like 2 HP in my deck, and for the other units I feel like there are much better upgrades. Like every single one of them. Especially when it's hard to think like other humans. You've helped on a lot of game development issues, and it's so easy to miss stuff because you're all thinking along the same lines. Something that I don't think many people who like watch Twitch streamers play games at the highest level realize is that the game shouldn't be balanced for me. And probably if you're into the game enough to not only be watching me play the game and also start talking about game balance while you're watching me playing the game, like, you're also probably like it's possible to balance games for players like that. Not impossible, but the game should generally be for people who have played like not hundreds of hours of it, because most people haven't played hundreds of hours of it. This thing, Vapor Funnel, it's pretty good. I'm just gonna give a little shout out there to my main man, Vapor Funnel. At least we have Legendary Long War. Yes. Yes, I did once try to balance a game like this. It took me 6 months to get something that resembled balanced, and it was with like a team of other people helping. So I think it's very easy to point at things and say like, I don't think this is balanced right, but it's much more difficult to diagnose why it doesn't feel like that's balanced right, and also to come up with a sensible solution that then feels like it is balanced right. You think your game's balanced is probably too hard because you have lots of experience with it. Yep. Yep. There's certainly something to that. These drafts sure fucking suck against this boss. Wow. Decide which of these I hit. Guess I use Fatal Melting next turn. Our wicks are lit for you. I almost lost casting that spell. Did I? I don't know about that. You know, back in the Hearthstone days, they nerfed underperforming cards because they felt overpowered for many people. Well, yeah, that's the thing. If they feel overpowered for many people, the cards are overpowered. So, we don't know the perfect way to play Hearthstone or the perfect way to play Monster Train, right? All we have is how the games look through a variety of different lenses. And my lens is like someone who's played games like this my entire life and has played this game for more than 100 hours and stuff. But my lens is not much more relevant than like some ridiculous player who never makes a mistakes lens. Like, why would you ever balance for that player? And in the same way that that player is better at the game than me, I'm better at the game than like most people who come to the game and play it for the first time and maybe haven't had much experience with the genre and stuff. So balancing for me to be able to play the game for like 3,000 hours without feeling like there are some things that are slightly too strong or too weak is silly. Why would you do that? Balance for the people who are coming to the game and like exploring it and make sure they have fun and make sure the game feels right to them. It's a lot of work to balance a game for someone like me with just like not that much payoff, really. We take molded over hallowed drippings, but they're both certainly okay. Take an offering token. Offering token's okay with Guardian's Amulet and with Offering Monument, one would think. A nameless inversion. It sounds cozy. Hearthstone is really different because you have a competitive scene. Reasons you're balancing are often split between catering to competitive players and trying to develop a meta that people enjoy playing. Yep. Yeah, and you have to decide how much you care about each of those two things, right? Which is difficult. If you imagine playing a game like this, I'm obviously going to min-max to try to win the game, right? That's how I'm going to play the game. But if you're a game designer designing a game for a bunch of different audiences and you're trying to min-max how you balance the game, like where you put your time to make the game as good as possible, there isn't even like a win condition. If you make the game more balanced for one group of people, you make it less balanced for a different group of people. So at some point there's just other stuff to work on, like the UI and designing new cards, like a new DLC or something. Like, I don't know. Very hard to balance a game perfectly, or even anything resembling perfectly. Unclear what that even means. The same way Jorbs balances the stream around people who show up asking the same questions over and over, forcing him to explain himself for the 1,000th time. I try to balance the stream so that I do some fun things for people who are here all the time, but yeah, it is important to make sure that the stream is a welcoming place for someone who hasn't watched a ton of the stream too, because a lot of you haven't watched a ton of the stream. It's just like the nature of the audience that I'm broadcasting to. A lot of you are like on Twitch in the browse page looking at Monster Train, wanting someone to watch, and so you jump in, or you're maybe coming by from a host from somebody else or whatever. It is sort of comparable. A friend of yours is coming to Seattle from out of town and wants to get dinner, and you're worried about the COVID. Yeah, that sounds... What? Why would you do that? I believe we had the most COVID cases, most new daily cases ever in the US yesterday. Like, I guess in Washington State we're doing better. Washington State were doing pretty well. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good idea. That's my opinion. You don't have to listen to my opinion if you don't want to listen to my opinion. Washington State is doing great. Besides Yakima, is it doing great? Is it doing great? Or is that like, is that based on like your opinion of what great is? I don't think I want multi-swipe sweep. Also, I should have definitely bought that before I did the purchasing for the other units, but oh well. I'm not healing in this run. Take another one of these. Crypty, thanks for the 4 months. I'm going to shoot you as well. You come here specifically for the min-maxing and to bask in the glory of the Holy Roman Empire. I feel that. I appreciate that. COVID was over already. Yeah, that's one of the weird things about how we talk about it in the US, is it's like under 80% of our ICUs are currently full, so we're reopening. Like, what the fuck? It's not... Why'd you pick that number? It's not like 80% of them are for COVID. I think in King County, like 2% of our ICUs are being used for COVID right now, which is like, that's definitely a lower number. But yeah. It's true, Leprechaun. But like, I don't know. The way to go back to normal right now is for there to be no cases. So like, just don't do anything that would give you the disease. Easy game. I get that that's not something that everybody can do. So in order to kill Daedalus, I'm going to have to probably reform Rector Flicker, which is going to just be like good luck, basically. Unless my sweep creature can win somehow, but I don't know that that's really a thing. I might put this here so I can deal 60 damage to the boss. That strikes me as reasonable right now. Oh. It's not the one that I wanted to draw. Yeah, I think I just don't play it. Too bad. Let this die. No cases isn't feasible? No cases isn't feasible? Based on what? Like, definitely not observation of how the world works. Alright. Flash Freeze goes here. This goes here, I guess. I have not visited Capitol Hill recently now. I haven't been like going amongst other humans. It's feasible to have no COVID-19 cases anymore. We're just not going to do the things that are required for that to happen. That's like, I think it is an important distinction to make. The US is what, like the richest country on earth with ridiculous technologies. Incredible science, incredible production, high culture output, reasonable tourism. Certainly a thing that could be done. The best president? Yep, that's what I've heard. Let's put this up here, I guess. I think I may have reformed Rector Flicker too early. It's like, I don't know. It's a tough fight, but hopefully the Frostbite gets us there anyway. Lots of hammers. The US has a huge number of hammers, that's true. US has good hammer output. I guess I just put this here. Probably fine. I don't think there's a lot of manufacturing in the US. You're saying the US has low hammers? It's unfortunate. I think we might just be putting all of our hammers into our military. I like this. I like this analogizing. It's like I get to make political statements, but it feels like I'm talking about a game. It's very cozy. GG, Daedalus. No gold out of my Wickless Tycoon, though. Devourer of Death. Harvest. Gain Soul 1. Extinguish. Deal damage to enemy units equal to 15 times the soul count. We've been gold purchasing units and buildings for a long time. Have we really? I'm like... Where do we gold purchase them from? The US manufacturing industry employed 12.4 million people in March 2017. Whatever. Manufacturing in the United States. History? I don't understand what this even means. It looks like manufacturing has been dropping heavily in the US since the mid-1900s. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Definitely seems like a question I can answer in 2 minutes on stream. I mean, there is a Wikipedia article which tells you a bunch of information about US manufacturing, and you can just like read it, and then you know the information in the Wikipedia article, and it's like mostly correct. Mostly close to correct. Do I take a Hoarfrost Effigy? I have double Flash Freeze and an Icy Salophyte. I think I don't. It is unclear to me how this deck continues to win exactly. Oh, like this. We just get another Wickless Tycoon. Easy. Now we take a Lady of the Reformed and put it in front of the Rector Flicker, and that is a huge amount for us. technically illegal to close borders. The way that you get to 0 COVID-19 cases in the US is you roll out like massive social welfare programs, put a ton of money into that shit. Start tracking people. There's some privacy concerns. This is one of the reasons why we're not going to do the things that need to be done in this country, probably, because our constitution is very protective of like privacy of citizens and stuff like that, so we can't really go like surveillance state to do it. Like lock stuff down and make sure that working conditions for people who have to continue working are very, very safe as they can be, and you quarantine people who enter the country for long enough to make sure they don't have it. Individual rights in the US are too strong to achieve 0 cases. Individual rights are something that we like choose to give to people. They're not a... Those are a thing that can change. But yeah, we're not going to change them. Part of the disconnect between differing worldviews in this country. Definitely the US is a very like disparate place culturally. There are different areas in the US where people care more or less about different things. I don't know which one of these I want. I might take the unit upgrades. I don't think unit cost -2 really does that much here. I'm not sure that the unit upgrades do either. I have to go to this one. I'm not sure I can really go to a Merchant of Steel. I think I just take the unit costs. I do have that one thingamajig. Yeah, offering totem. That likes my units costing less. How many of you are like sitting at home or whatever and feeling more politically charged than you were this time last year? Like you just sort of have things you want to say about how the world is working right now. And you like feel more strongly about that than you did this time last year. You get more politically charged year after year. Same charge, but more topics. About the same. You were pretty charged this time last year. think for me, I still care about this stuff in the same way that I've always cared about it. But it's like making me feel worse. I'm not, sorry, I'm not, generally I'm okay. Like my life's going okay and stuff. I'm not trying to have a big sad moment here. But for me, it's like, I don't know. I don't know exactly. Let me get out the violin, thanks. I like dubstep violin, if you can play any of that. We're just gonna like die. What is this deck that I've built? Oh no. Oh no. This creature has to go. Well, it can't go anywhere. I'm gonna frostbite my own train sewer to try to get a little bit of space to play things. You have a friend who does dubstep violin? That's rad. That's awesome. Traditional instruments playing like more modern types of music is one of the things I really dig in music. Oh, I said dig. Yeah, it's probably fine. Not playing Slay the Spire. I doubt anybody here even knows that joke. Alright. The other day you saw a Celtic version of the Coffin Dance song, was pretty great. It sounds rad. There's a great talk Sam Harris had Tristan Harris, or Tristan Harris. I don't think they're related. I'm pretty sure they're not related. Anyway. Tristan Harris is a person who runs a nonprofit for ethical use of technology. So all about like, we have this technology, how are we going to use it in an ethical way? Yeah, that's just completely skipping my floor with my good units, isn't it? Well, I can do this now. That works. And it was fascinating for me to listen to. All about how companies are able to use technology to like sell advertising to people, and how they like change how technologies work to maximize how much advertising they can sell to you, and so on and so forth. And Affleck told you Sam Harris is a degenerate racist. Well, he was only the host of the podcast, so. Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't there something about something? I don't remember. He's like he's one of those people who says very insensitive atheist stuff, which is like, I don't know, it's a thing. You can think your own thing about that. I can discard the offering card instead of a deadweight. Thanks, MD Sherman. I could also discard the deadweight. Anyway, they talked all about the attention economy and how a lot of... So if you're gonna live in a world where advertising is sold to people, a lot of the like min-max game becomes about getting people to look at the things that are serving the ads, and how do you get the people to look at these things. And it was a fascinating conversation, and they talked so much about like Twitter and these online social media platforms that like I work on, that we are on right now, that perhaps a lot of us have like been reading earlier today, or perhaps you're like looking at Twitter on a different monitor or whatever. And like the business model of a lot of these things is to like create as much controversy and attention grabbing noise as possible. So given that I spend my time surrounded by these things, I guess it's not that surprising that I'm seeing more and more of that. Wonder how much ad block has improved your quality of life. Yeah, I run ad block on all of them too, so I don't even see the ads. Yeah, I don't know. He's gonna be mad at me for mentioning ad block. Are they? Sad. You think it's the part about ad block that they'd be mad at, not the part about how their business model is is structured? It's interesting that that would be the part that was upsetting. I don't know, it like is what it is right now. Definitely a situation where it is what it is. Do we pick the good artifact or the one that gives us 2 cards whenever we play the 3rd card of the turn? That's tough. We should probably Winged Steel is about like 50% more likely to result in winning the run than Memorial Fund there. Probably we should take Winged Steel. You subconsciously block out all ads. That's I've had people express that they believe that to me before. Yeah, I don't know. You know the ads subconsciously get in your head anyway, right? Actually an ad yourself. Any ads in the chat? How many of you are artificial intelligences created by some sort of brand who are here just to like sell a product? None of us are gonna be upset, because most of us are too. I'm actually a deep fake. I don't even exist as a human being. I'm just an AI that is designed to sell you very enjoyable strategy games. I guess we play this stuff too. How could I figure out that I'm not a human and I'm just an AI designed to sell products? Hmm. Yeah, that's actually pretty tough, I guess. There we go. Wait, none of my units have died. So I had to like let one of my units die at some point somehow. Whoops. Hey Reynard, thanks very much for the 100 bits. I appreciate it. Did we all just fail the Turing test? I didn't like study enough last night to pass any tests. It's a somewhat large draft. Holy moly. Yeah, because it kills this now. Cool. Any... Yeah, let's do that. Alright. Get to reform champion. That's pretty good. Should probably work out how to put it behind this so it stops dying. I'll do that later. This deck is bad. There's a card that can apply 6 sap to things. Yeah, okay, it's pretty bad. Not great. Gotta decide whether I'm playing Guardian's Amulet or Flash Freeze here. Also, I do want to reshuffle? I can't play something there though. So how would I reshuffle? I could play this one here. And I could play... Oh, I have an offering token now, that's cool. Do this. Now I've reshuffled, which means that I have a guaranteed molded next turn. Why do I want it next turn? Okay, well that's not the turn that I want it. I don't know, it works. We put the lady on the floor. Found a way. This deck's weird because it has like 4 very powerful cards which interact somewhat strongly with each other, and then it has like 25 cards which are terrible and are in the way of those cards getting to interact. I believe this will just win though pretty comfortably. Alright, GG. fail to see how this does 4,000 damage. We have a double stacked sap card. That's probably how. So unit upgrades are still a thing, right? We've got this one to upgrade, this one could use another upgrade. But I think probably card remove is way too good to not take card remove. With so many bad cards, it just seems like card remove. Deal 5 damage to enemy units when a burnout unit dies. Probably? I don't have a ton of AoE right now, so that seems pretty good here. Kind of interesting how some mechanics in the game overlap and conflict with each other, like stealth versus sap versus dazed. Yeah, you definitely have the synergistic stuff that multiplies together, like offensive stats plus defensive stats. And then you have the other stuff that really doesn't. I think that's really well done in this game, personally. I don't want to play this. A simple option would just be to put Lady in front of Rector Flicker here, and then put this draft behind them. I mean, that seems like a pretty damn good option. Let's just do that. Get rid of this. Just gonna keep on throwing flash freezes on Fel whenever we draw them. I think the deck's strong enough that we get to do that. Certainly it looks like we're in okay shape at the moment. Mountain is too reliant on stealth to win. I don't know, that's like one thing they can do. I think Engulfed in Smoke is a good card. That is what I would say. There doesn't seem to be a lot of space here anymore. Sure. I need to take Ember at the end of this fight. No. This is an overcharged tank. We're killing it. Why is Ember better than Space when my units are free? So I want to be able to sap every turn? Because I can draw a trillion cards with Offering Monument, but I can't play them. My units are the shit part of the deck. Getting more space for my units isn't going to, like, make the deck better. Make the deck slightly better, but will make the deck better less rapidly than making the spells better is going to. I think I probably Guardian's Amulet. I'm a little bit concerned that my burnout units are gonna die. But there's one more turn, right? Yeah, so I can let this hit me. Eight sap on it. Okay, these are still dying to burnout, but we don't want to play another Guardian's Amulet because we need Bell to be attacking. Huh, it's unfortunate that I can't kill this and then bring it back. This is probably pretty good though. This is non-terrible to play. And this one's fine. There's a non-skill based roguelike. There must be like a mainly luck-based roguelike that exists, right? I think there are story-based roguelikes. It's an interesting question. I'm having trouble thinking of them. Like, the general thing is to have the game be about skill. Is Tharsis a luck-based roguelike? Higher feels close. Darkest Dungeon. There are definitely roguelikes that lean more into the narrative element and the role-playing element, and also roguelikes that lean more into like RNG. And yeah, there's like RNG mitigation as a game mechanic, right? But it's weird. One thing is, I don't know, and maybe you'll have opinions on this. I don't know if a game is hard enough that it hasn't been solved. Why does any game that's hard enough that it hasn't been solved yet have a different amount of skill required to win it than a different game? Like, definitionally, so we've solved Connect 4, for example. So I can say that that's not a game that requires skill. That's just like a game that you have to like read the solution to and make the right plays. But any game that's like more complicated than that, where we don't have a solution written down, like if you play it, don't you need like an unbounded amount of skill? Like the more skill you have, the more likely you'll be to win. And isn't that true for all games? Sometimes people talk about like which game is the most skill-based game, and I don't really understand. Like how do you differentiate in any way? I'm sure sometimes when people say that, they have something in mind, but I'm not really sure what it is. And maybe whatever it is makes perfect sense, but I don't. I don't. I don't know. Maybe you mean like if a very good player plays against a player who's not as good, what percentage of the time does the very good player win? Maybe that's what's meant. So like a game where the best in the world wins 99% of the time against the second best in the world would be more of a skill-based game than one where it was like 55% versus 45%. But that's like a... In order to have the 55% versus the 45%, you still had to be way better than the other player, right? So, like, the skill in that game still exists too. What about chess? I mean, chess definitely requires skill. It's a skill-based game. But then, like, I think Slay the Spire requires skill in just as much of a way, and Monster Train requires skill in just as much of a way. I don't know. This is something that I've wondered about. Chess has no element of luck at all? Well, different players play against each other over and over again and have different results, so there must be some element of luck in it. Green's like, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Max Combo, thanks for the 14 months. Uncle Musho to you as well. Yeah, chess absolutely has luck. Chess has a tremendous amount of luck. Like, for example, you study a position for 5 hours the week before a tournament, and then you go to the tournament. Does your opponent play the position or not? Like, your opponent doesn't know that you studied it. If your opponent does play that position, you just got lucky. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to say. That's not luck. Sure it is. If they... do you have control over that? I think that's, like, I don't know. I don't think many people would say that that isn't luck unless they, like, had it in their brain that chess was a game where luck didn't exist for some reason. I have not bought a card remove yet in the entire run, and looking at the deck right now, it's, like, unclear what I would buy. Do I think chess will ever be solved? I think the solution space is too big, isn't it? Like, at least with what we currently think of as solving a game, and what we currently understand as, like, limitations of data storage, I don't think it's possible to solve chess. We'd have to have some incredibly revolutionary technological change. We have computer players who are better than any human player is at chess, but we have not solved chess. The computer players still make mistakes. It's just they don't make mistakes as often as humans do. Which is actually sort of frustrating, like... sort of shitty to like have something that just beats you every time, but also you can't actually use it to study how to be like the best player. Well, I mean you can, but you can't use it to study how to be a perfect player because it's not perfect either. You solve chess with queens off the board. I think table bases go up to like 7-piece endgames now, and there are 32 on the board at the start, so we have some solutions to chess positions, but only once like more than 3/4 of the pieces have been removed from the board. And the game scales multiplicatively in complexity, right? So it's not like we just need to work on it for 4 times as long and we'll be done. The branching factor is like ridiculously high. When people say solve talking about a game like this, they mean that the entire game is like known. We understand who wins and we understand what moves have to be played to win. I haven't played Go actually. Commentators mentioned how studying engines had led to people playing pawns up the H column. Yeah, playing H4 is a huge thing in chess at the moment. It's like almost a meme. If you wanted to start learning chess, how would I recommend you start? Check out the chess YouTubers and don't like just find one and settle on it. Like, look for different chess YouTubers, look for ones who deliberately make like introductory teaching content and shop around a bit and see if you can find someone you like. I don't have anyone personally I can recommend. Obviously, Peter Spiedler's like been on the channel before, and I have a huge amount of respect for him. He like makes some training series, but I think his stuff is more targeted at people already pretty familiar with the game. So that may not actually work if you're starting out for the first time, you know? And Feingold has a lot of like chess lecture content for sure. Why is this going to burn out? Because this doesn't give us enough, doesn't take damage enough times, it dies too quickly. Excuse me, sorry. don't think there's a reason not to play this like that. I guess the only one is maybe I wanted to play the offering token here so that I drew one more extra card, but I don't think there's any card that I'm like drawing toward that matters. I don't want to play Engulfed in Smoke, so that would be actively bad to play. Yeah, just do this, I think. I'm doing all right. I think, yeah. A lot of the recommendations for learning chess are still like actually somewhat advanced. I don't know. I believe in your ability to search online for this material, or you can like buy a book. There are books for learning chess that have been refined over the course of like hundreds of years and are, I assume, pretty good at teaching it at this point. So the entire game right now is playing Guardian's Amulet every turn of the boss fight. In order to do that, I think I want another Frenzied Swarm, because I need a spell to consume. Sometimes all we can do is prove something is correct by a simulation. Not sure that you know exactly what you're talking about, Prodifall. Alright. I was gonna go this way, but I don't actually know that I have that much to remove. Go this way instead, get the last upgrades and upgrade our, or duplicate our double stacked sap card. Yes, and run. You can't like simulate chess. That doesn't it doesn't work for chess. Just doesn't. That it, you can't solve chess by simulating it. Not how that game goes. You can play chess quite well by writing an engine which runs lots of simulations through the game tree, but you can't solve it. I think this card's sort of in the way. It has 13 power though. Different fields have different notions of proof. Sure, we're talking about the notion of solving something for chess, right? Kind of crazy we can make something so complex that we run up to physics to solve it. I know, right? It's so cool. The crazy stuff that humans make. So cool. So I can't play this turn unless I could actually. If I do this and I draw a different spell. Okay, now I can play it. And then the question is, do I play it on this stuff? Or do I just start stacking sap on Seraph? I have 140 pyre health and I have a vapor funnel. I suspect I just start stacking it on Seraph then. That's like a lot of health. Put this up here. You rare morsel. I don't really understand what people are like thinking when they talk about proof. So when you talk about proof in a game, the shape of a game is that it has a game tree. And so the game tree looks like this, like you have a move, a choice between two options, and then depending on what you did, you have another move, which gives you a choice between another two options perhaps. But game trees can have branching factors much larger than 2, so it might actually be, in some chess positions, you have like, you know, 30 plus different moves, so there are all sorts of different nodes you can go to, and every single one of these nodes is 30 different moves coming out of it. And so the chess game tree gets very, 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 very big very quickly. And the idea of solving a game is you work out a way through the game, which like maybe always wins for one player. And you could say that that solved chess. If you found a way that white always won and black could never win, you could maybe say that that was a chess solution. Oh, I have the chroma key on this still, so I just I just made that part of the paint canvas disappear. That's funny. But I think generally when people talk about solving games, they mean actually enumerating the entire game tree so that they understand all of it. Anyway, I don't really understand what else you can mean when you talk about like solving chess. Not always, you can have weak solutions. I don't know what that means. What does a weak solution mean? There are ultra weak, weak, and strong solutions to game. Ultra weak game solution. Prove whether the first player will win, lose, or draw from the initial position given perfect play on both sides. That's what I just fucking said! You can't do that without enumerating at least one channel through the entire game tree where the player has to win. This is literally what I just drew in paint. I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyway, alright, very good. You don't need the whole game tree for a weak solution. Yeah, I just said, that's what I just said out loud. Were you not listening to what I said? You weren't listening to what I said, maybe that's the issue. Let's go with Fatal Melting, just to get rid of it and play this. Hey Ryle, thanks for continuing your gifted sub. Conversations beginning to like upset me on some visceral level. Grab this one back. Okay, that's fine. Hey Al, I'm glad you enjoyed Greece. It is a beautiful, beautiful game. Want to change the topic to sourdough bread making? Who's been making bread? Who in chat has been making bread? I know there's some of you out there. Don't be shy. Caitlin has been making so much bread that, like, okay, so here's the thing. I think that there's like some sort of community thing. Just a very like human community thing to make bread for each other, right? And Caitlin all of a sudden has all of this time, and she's a very caring person. And so she's like, I'm gonna make bread for people because I have time to do that and I want to help, which is very nice. But we're like not going outside or anything and not seeing other people. So it falls upon me to eat the loaf of bread, the cake, the cookies, the like, what are the little round things called? The like bread rolls. It's a lot. It's a lot for me to do. You poor, poor man. I know! I know! Absolutely. You're looking for your tiny violin? Yeah, I was meaning to talk to you about that. Caitlin accidentally baked that into a loaf of bread last night. That's, I'll let you know if it shows up, if you know what I mean. Oh, I've just killed my... Whoops. It's an interesting strategy. Good strategy? Maybe not. Maybe not a good strategy. I suspect, though... that this just, like, kills. I feel somewhat confident that this just kills. So I have to work out if I were to play Guardian's Amulet here. Is that enough? I don't have that many options really, right? It feels like I really don't have a lot of options. Just go Flash Freeze here and Guardian's Amulet. This deals 16. Then -2 first, and we have Stealth. It deals 16, it goes to 0. It deals 16 again, this goes to 2. 17. It deals 16 again, this goes to 13. It deals 16 again, this goes to 7. It deals 16 again, this dies. That's problematic. How would I like to fix that problem? One option would be to grab a draft. Can grab a draft and then play Guardian's Amulet. What we have to do, I think. Is that enough? The draft's gonna deal... It's gonna be at 45 times 2, right? So 90, and then dead. Should be enough. I think that was 45. It was plus 10, not plus 5. Oh yeah, I was confusing it with that other card. You know, that other card. Do this one. And we're only dealing 633. Really? Seriously? It only deals 633? Oh, it's the spell weakness one. Oh, okay. For some reason I thought it was the frostbite one. I have no idea. Well, I don't have a high damage spell in my deck, so we're dead. It's cool. Frozen Lands kills it now. That's optimistic. I needed a high damage spell. I wasn't really ever offered one, I don't think. Oh well, GG. Why didn't I take the lady? I had 1 floor capacity. Wouldn't have fit. Well, weakness minus 35. GG. Unless we prove that chess can model an NP complete problem, we cannot say that it won.